This episode of SpectreSoundStudios is brought to you by the French Guitar Cookbook. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to SMG Viewers Comments number 62, my longest running and probably most popular series. Thanks to all of you for following me on this crazy freaking journey. Let's get right to it.
This guy is an idiot, especially the high-gain amp models of the Spider 2 sound really good. Compared to other amps in this price range, it is the best sounding amp by far. This guy is just spoiled and earns too much money, obviously, so he can buy every amp he wants, no matter how much it costs. Of course a Mezzo Rectifier Marshall JCM sounds better, but it costs the multiple of a Spider 2.
And clearly you're not aware that there are software-based amp sims that are far less the price of a Spider 2 that sound far superior. Here's an idea. Educate yourself before opening your mouth or typing on the internet because you don't want to look stupid.
Hey Glenn! Yesterday, I recorded my band's bass player in my so-called studio, the bass straight into a Roland VS. The guy couldn't play to a click, remember the order of the song or playing his part straight without fucking up every single time. It took us 3 hours to record a 3-minute song. I ended up throwing him out of my house and out of the band, indeed a useless cunt. Plus, he showed up with year-old strings because he likes the sound they get.
Yeah, that would be the sound of the change he gets back when he buys a case of beer. Clearly, there's a musician with his priorities completely out of whack. Good for you for firing the useless son of a bitch. I wish more of you guys would do that. Don't settle for second-rate bass players. Your band and your music deserves better.
Can I do a serious recording with bias?
Why, yes, you can do a serious recording with bias. It's freaking outstanding. In fact, you can do a much more serious recording with bias than you can with a Line 6 Spider, no matter what the first commenter said.
Hi Glenn, what DAW do you use and why?
I'm currently using Reaper. I really like the editing system. I like the drag and drop. That's really fantastic. Like when it comes to effects and whatnot, and routing and patching, it's just fantastic. It's very stable. I haven't really been able to crash it, which is more than I can say for the Pro Tools system. They were running at phase 1 when we were recording drums up there a couple weeks ago. That thing crashed about 6 or 7 times that day. I couldn't believe it. It's like, should I have brought my computer? I'm not going to give Darren too much of a hard time though. The guy's an outstanding engineer and he did a phenomenal job on the Vice drums. Here's something really cool though. I have been talking to Harrison Consoles over the last week, and they've got a new program out called Mixbus 32C, which is a digital recreation of the famous Harrison mixing console that did all these amazing records back in the 70s and 80s, like Michael Jackson's Thriller and some Eagles stuff, I think. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that and putting it through its paces. So watch the channel because I will have some demos on that, because I am all about trying out new mixing software and new ideas and new ways to approach things. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Hey Glenn, is it better for starting a band to have an El Cheapo guitar with upgraded electronics or a half-decent guitar left stock plus Epiphone or Squire? Thanks, I love your videos.
Well, Kyle, I'll tell you what's really important. It's not so much the guitar you're playing, just as long as it stays in tune, because when you're just starting out, the absolute tonal quality isn't really that important. You know what's important? Make sure you're on time. For band practice, for your first gigs, make sure you're always on time. Make sure you know your songs. Make sure you're well practiced. Make sure you give it everything you've got, and don't waste anyone's time. That's what you should worry about.
What do you think of wrapping tape around the end of a mic when recording drums to minimize bleed?
I don't think that's such a good idea, because you're going to mess with the microphone's pickup pattern and create artifacts in the sound, especially in the high end, because you're going to get things bouncing around in and out of frequency, and you might wind up making it sound really bad. I don't usually use little tricks like that. I just rely on clever mic placement and work the drummer a little bit, and work with him to get him to hit certain elements a little harder and certain elements a little softer. Usually a little softer on the hats, usually a little harder on the snare. I find that works a lot better than cheap concoctions you can come up with, like tape and that kind of crap. Hey guys, just want to take a sec to talk about this week's sponsor, the French Guitar Cookbook. The author is having a Kickstarter right now, and he's raising funds to publish the second version of his book. He was kind enough to send me the original guitar book cookbook last summer, and I gotta say, this thing is gorgeous. It lays out the chords, the scales, and how they all fit together. It's all done in charts, and there's all kinds of cool scales in here and that I've never tried, not even after playing guitar for 31 years. And now with the French Guitar Cookbook, he set out to create the Necronomicon for guitar. Okay, I gotta admit, that does sound kind of cool. There's gonna be over 150 scales, everything from pentatonics to symmetrical, Indian scales, Japanese, Hungarian, essentially all the really great stuff for metal, but it also applies to any other genre. Each scale is shown all over the neck in every position, every mode, every key with all the chords it contains, so you know what chords to use with what scale. And all the chords are in there, everything from power chords to jazz 13th chords. And I gotta admit, that's something I struggle with, and it's gonna be very cool to see it all laid out because I am all about making the guitar easier to learn for everybody. The book is created to be used at all levels from beginner to pro. It's printed on actual paper, and you can even throw it in your gig bag. If you want an electronic version, there will be an iBook version available as well. So if you want to improve your guitar knowledge, or you're a teacher, or you just know someone who wants to learn, this will probably make a hell of a Christmas present. You can go check it out on Kickstarter. The link is in the description below. Back to the show.
Hey Glenn, any tips for preventing your gear from being stolen at a show? Guitars, amps, etc.
Yeah, sure. First off, if you're playing a gig, minimize your drinking and keep your eye on your stuff. That would be my first advice. Secondly, don't leave your stuff at the venue after a show. I've seen cases where, bands have left stuff and stuff grows feet and goes missing. That's really not a good idea. Take your stuff home with you, especially things you don't want stolen or expensive items. The other thing you can do is mark your stuff. You can get a labeler and mark it with your band's logo. You can paint your band's logo on a lot of things. Even just a roll of silver or blue duct tape or something like that to put on your cases, put an X or a Y or whatever, just so you know what's what. That way, if you see something going somewhere, it's easy to identify. Even your cables, you should be putting little flags on them, either with a labeler or colored tape or something like that, so your stuff is very easy to keep track of.
Hey Glenn, just wondered why you hate the Sennheiser E604 so much. The MD421s are obviously better, but also obviously more expensive too. I've seen some people getting pretty good results with the E604s, so just wanted to learn why is it that you hate them. Thanks for the great videos, love your channel.
I don't know if I misstated that or whatnot. I don't really hate the E604s. I used to have a set. I had those from about 2000 to about 2007. I did a lot of records with my 604s. They're nice, they're small, they're clip-ons, whatnot. They can't hold a candle to the MD421s. That's the thing. The 604s are okay. The MD421s are fucking awesome, and I can't say enough good things about them. But if all you can afford is 604s, it's a good place to start. But I do recommend saving your pennies and getting a set of MD421s because they will last you a lifetime. The only Sennheiser mic I had that I really couldn't stand was the E609 Silver, which was very, very nasal on guitar cabinets.
I think we all know how you feel about sample replacement, but what about the time alignment or quantized drums? Do you fix small imperfections to make a full sound smoother, or keep doing take until it's as clean as possible?
If I could get away with it, I would never edit the drums at all. I want to hear the drummer play. I don't want to hear my edits. I want to hear a drummer groove. I don't want to hear my edits. I don't want to hear me fixing crap. It'd be wonderful if we could make records and not have to fix stuff. It'd be wonderful if we get more drummers to play at a certain level. I try to do an absolute minimum of editing, and for the most part, I can get away with that. I don't have to fuck with anything too much these days because I just push the drummers a little bit harder. And again, it's all about capturing a vibe for me. But yeah, I think we'd be making much better records if we didn't have to time align the drums.
I bought one of your shirts and UK Customs charged me £11 to get it in the country. Although it was annoying, still 100% still worth it.
Thank you so much for buying a shirt. You can get one like this, Bass Players Do It Worse, at spectremedia.ca/shop. Really sorry that the UK government charged you £11 to get a shirt into the country, but that's your government's fault, not mine. My suggestion is elect a better government.
Would you say the same if it were a guitar review and he didn't mention what mics were in it? Probably not.
Fuck, he's right, TJ. Shit. Can you tell me where the mics are in this thing? I don't see any. Do you see any mics on this guitar?
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Hey, maybe you guys can explain it to us. Where the fuck are the mics on this guitar? Leave a comment below. We'll see you guys next week.